Hey guys, my name is Josiah and I run a design agency called Gamma Labs, specialized in branding and product design using Webflow and other no-code tools like Wiz. And today I'm going to lean more into that low-code and code tools, and this is going to be a newer AI tool that is built specifically for Webflow, and it's actually going to be a tool called Slater. Now this is made by Edgar Allen, which is a really big Webflow agency known in the Webflow community, and they built this really awesome tool that I wanted to showcase and show you how to do a couple different things with Webflow and supercharge it using Slater. So what we're going to be building today is a modal that's going to trigger whenever someone adds a coffee that is available to pick up. I want to give them a discount to show, or to essentially get them to purchase another bag of coffee as well. Have that trigger, but then only be able to trigger whenever it happens once per session. So that way they don't keep getting notified about the same thing. They got it once, they didn't add it, and they missed out. And then next time you visit the site, it'll trigger again. So we're going to do that with a little bit of code and using a new tool called Slater. So taking a look at Webflow here, we're actually going to jump into Webflow first and do a couple of ground things, okay? We're going to be looking at a tool called Slater here. So just kind of prepping you, looking at the interface a little bit. It's going to be pretty familiar with a code interface, but we got to do a couple of things inside of Webflow before we get to the fun tools here. And I'm actually going to be utilizing Reloom a little bit as well. So what we're going to be doing is building a modal page that prompts someone to add something else to cart after they add something to cart here. So this is a coffee website, and more specifically, we've kind of modified Webflow's native e-commerce functions to sort of work for coffee deliveries in a local area. But whenever they get coffee delivered, we want to be able to prompt them that, hey, since you're ordering coffee, you can get a discounted bag of coffee added to your cart, and we'll deliver it to you with that as well. So we're going to need a couple of things here. So we have our button, okay? And we are going to have our, what I'm going to do here is actually going to label this, I'm going to give it a custom attributes. So I'm going to say, element, I'm going to do add to cart. Okay, so we're just going to give it an attribute of that. We're going to use this for a little bit later. And now down here, I actually just copy and pasted our modal. Just give me a div block with our button and so on. So we have our modal component. This is going to be hidden. And what happens right now is actually you click on that and then the modal comes up here. There's some things we got to fix. But as of right now, we have our modal. We're going to go ahead and make this a flex box. So now we can go and edit this. Okay, so now we have our modal wrapper and then our background overlay here. So let's go ahead and look at the modal wrapper. Now this has some overflow, and actually I just want to go ahead and do overflow hidden. I don't like the scroll, we're not going to need it. But I know there is a big scroll here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is give this a background, because right now it is transparent. So let's give it a black background. Maybe even, can we bring some orange? That might be too much. So let's just give it a different color so it stands out a little bit. Okay, then we have the modal content, so we'll replace this div. So what I'm going to do here is actually just give this a new div block. Delete that one. That one has some styles on it. Okay, so now we have our little modal here. And our close button is up here at the top corner. Now this one is actually... it looks like it's a PNG, so I'll leave that as is for now. All right, so we're going to go ahead and build this modal and have this go ahead and show. So I do have a little bit of copy, a little bit of pre-copy, but what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to go ahead and do a collection list, and this is actually going to be a source for products, product fields, and then we're going to do products ourselves, and there's a bunch. So we don't need all that right now, we just need one. So that's fine, we'll leave that as is, but we're going to go ahead and create a filter. We're going to do filters name. We're actually going to do sell item is on, okay? And that should limit me down to just one. Perfect. Okay, so now next we're going to go ahead and give this a few styles. Now, following client first, we're going to go ahead and do I'm going to do modal product. And then I'm going to do collection. Actually, I'll do lists wrapper. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here is copy that and then come down to modal product lists. Great. And then we're going to have modal product item. Great. So we have that. We're going to have our classes set up here, and we have the item itself. Now the item, I want to go ahead and add in an image. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do modal product and do image. This is going to be a wrapper because I really love doing a div and then putting the image inside of there as a wrapper. And then we're going to go ahead and do the image itself. Oops, not image. I'm going to do get images from products and then do our main image. And then boom, that populates there. Now this is going to be modal. Actually, let's just go ahead and do this. Image. All right, great. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and actually just give this a relative position, and then we're going to go ahead and give this an absolute position. This needs to have a full size, so what we'll probably do is just do a height maybe of like, I don't know, 30 rem. Let's try that. 20 rem. I'll just leave it 30 for now until I mess with some more stuff later. This is going to need to be fill. Now our image wrapper needs to have our padding, our overflow hidden off. This needs to be 100% width and then 100% height, and it's going to squish. So how we're going to fix that is we're going to go and just do cover. Okay. And we can even do contain if you want to have it in there like this, but I'm going to do cover for right now. And then here we're going to go ahead and actually give this a little bit of text here. So we're going to go ahead and have some copy already prepared. I'm going to go ahead and remove the styling here. So do this. Because it doesn't need to have a bold that it came with. Great. Okay. And what I want to do is go ahead and just have text color orange. That way and grab some attention. And then, so a special offer just for you. Cool. So now that this is done, what we also want to do is do a add to cart, because this needs to be part of a product here. So we'll go ahead and do quantity. I'm actually going to remove the quantity from here. So there are some weird settings we got to do here. So quantity will hide. Add to cart we'll keep on there, and that's it. And that's like bean type, because that's going to be important. So I'm going to go ahead and style this as well. We're going to go ahead and do product add to cart. Okay. And here we can actually just give this a style of button. Great. And then here we give this as inputs, form inputs, and then great. So we can do that. And what I would like to do is actually wrap this inside of a div block. Give this actually, I will take that back. Okay, because that can be deleted, and I will delete that. But the quantity, so I'm not sure why, I'll just do hide. That way it goes away. Okay, now what we need to do here is I want to wrap this inside of a div block as well. Well, it looks like I can't do that, but the button group, it's already in one. So the button group, I'm going to do a margin. Actually, can I wrap the... Okay, so this is where we need to kind of play around with some client first. So we can't wrap anything. So what we're going to go ahead and do is give this some spacing. We should do padding bottom and then do padding small. Give that a little bit of space, and that's perfect. That's all I need. Okay. So now we have this. We have our as a cart section, but I actually do want to add a little bit of text here. So this is not styled exactly how I would like. That's no problem. I'm actually going to do wrap in a div block, and then I'm going to do padding, actually margin vertical. Okay. And then I'm going to do margin medium. Okay. Give me some space here. And I do actually need to add the price. That would be very important. So I'm actually going to head and do a text block here. Great. And then what we're going to do here is get the product type, name, billing, price. Okay, and then what we want to do is do the same thing. This is all going to make sense here in a little bit. And price, and we're going to go ahead and do, there should be compare at price. Perfect. We got both. So then what I'm going to do is actually give this a compare. I'm going to make a class for this, in which case I'm going to do a darker color. Oh, let's do even darker than that. Okay, I'm going to give this a strike through. There you go. All right, cool. So I don't want to make this really huge element, so I'm going to do a couple of things really quick. So I'm going to do one more div block, okay? I'm going to wrap, we have our margin vertical here. I'm actually going to go ahead and, so I'm going to wrap this inside of a div block, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do modal product, I'm going to do grid, okay? I'm actually going to make this a grid, and then I'm going to leave this as is for now. I'm going to get rid of this row, delete that row, good. And then from here, I'm going to give this one rem, cool, right? And what I want to do is actually move my add to cart. I'm going to move this inside of my grid. Cool. All right. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we still have that margin vertical, which I don't need anymore, so I'll get rid of that. Okay. Now this guy is going to need some margin, and since it's the components, I'll just go ahead and do 2 rem above up top there. Now these guys, these need to be moved up in the list of things here. So that needs to go up here. Actually, so let's do this. Let's give this one more level. So I'm going to do product modal, or modal products. Let's do content. So that way I can take all of my text that is randomly in here. So like this, actually have it up top, and then by compare our price, have it up top here. So let's do display. So heading style H4, cool. And there we go. Do bean type, and then I'm going to do a padding div block as well, and then we're going to do padding bottom, and then the padding medium. Great. And so some space in between there. So there's that. There's that. Awesome. And now we have a little bit of information here. So now what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and add a paragraph in here. Okay. And this is a little bit too much copy. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Great. There you go. So now we have our modal here. So this image, what I actually want to go ahead and do here is we do have a height of 30 rem. That's going to fill up the whole thing. Perfect. So it's going to fill up that grid. And to do that, I can make sure that that's going to align and take up the full space. Okay. Now we have our grid elements. What I would actually like to do is maybe go ahead and give this 2 rem, give it a little bit more breathing room, even better. All right. So now we have that, the exit, and that is perfect. And our modal is now created. I'll go back to leave this hidden, but just in case, I'm actually going to give this attributes of elements. I'm going to do cell modal, and that's it. All right. So now this is where we're going to get to some of the code. Okay, what we're going to have to do is go to Slater. Now again, this is a really awesome tool, and I'm going to give you a little preview into this. To get one started, what we'll do is start a new project. You'll enter in your Webflow URL, give it a project name, and it'll actually pull the sitemap and be able to reference those. But there's some really cool things that I'll show you how this works. So right now I have our grind coffee project. I already have a product item because there are some animations that I have set. So really what you'll do is you can select a page in here. All right. You can give it a name as well. But again, we're not doing that in this one because we already have that set up. The important thing here is actually to grab this script. So I can go ahead and grab this script, actually copy it, and paste that here inside of my page template. And lo and behold, it is already set here. So I have that pasted in, so that is all good to go. So now all I need to do is actually, make this hidden, my modal component, and then we are done. We'll hit publish. And I know that button's still there. We'll address that a little later, just so I can troubleshoot a few things. So now in order to open this modal, what I can also do is just do a custom attribute here, and I can do elements, and I can do modal trigger. And the reason why I want to do that is because it already has a Webflow animation built in. Again, we copied this from Reloom. I made this a lot easier. Just hit copy, and now my modal's made. Then paste that in here. So there's a few things I got to remember. So while that's going, what I also want to do is now we need to give this some instruction to write this code. So you can say, can you, let's see here, on click of an element with the attribute, I think it's element equals add to cart. Can you click another element with the attributes of element equals modal trigger? I think if you do this, really all of this stuff will work, but I kind of like being a little bit more proper with it here. Can there be a delay of 1 second before the second click is triggered? Let's try that. Okay, so let's do that. So now it's going to go ahead and write the JavaScript for me here. All right, so it gave us a const. So we have our buttons. Then it gave us the const of the script here. So let's go ahead and do this. So let's place this in here. Actually, did that wrong on the code. And let's paste this here. There we go. So now what it's doing is it's creating the add to cart button, and it's creating the modal trigger button here. And it named it for me, just like you probably properly would. And now I made a function here to go ahead and on the click, let's see here, event listener click, trigger modal click. So this example, okay, there you go. So what it's doing is it's actually, it has a function called trigger modal click. That function is already defined here. And then you created an event listener, which is listening for the click, and then it runs this function here. And so that really should, all we really have to do. So we can save to dev. Now what this is going to do is actually run this on our Webflow IO domain. So I can open this up. Okay. And I can do add to cart. Oops. There you go. Okay. Regular milk, caramel, add to cart. There you go. So then now it gives you that option. But I think I want to do this for a little bit longer. So let's actually update this to maybe 2 seconds. So let's do 2000 just to see what that does. I want to see how that feels. And then all we have to do is refresh the page, and then we don't have to try to republish the site. So that's the beauty of this. So regular milk, vanilla, add to cart, and then that comes up here. All right. So then what that's doing is replacing the old modal that pops up here. So there are a couple things that we got to do here. Okay. So when this cart is created, let's go ahead and do settings, visible hidden, default texts. I want to go ahead and states default stock error, add to cart by now. Okay. So let's see. So here I have my cart. So visible is hidden. I'm going to open cart. Actually, it looks like I need to give this a class and button, and then is max. Okay. So you have your cart, ease in and out, open when product is added. So, okay, there's a little bit of a hiccup here, something that was unexpected. Okay, so over here, I'm going to do open when product is added for now. I'm going to go ahead and hide that, and we're going to see how this is going to perform. Okay, so now that this is doing its thing here, what we're going to go ahead and do is we do need to hide this button. So I'm going to give this a class of hidden. All right, so we'll just hide that here, and that is set. But also, what I also want to do is give this a conditional visibility. So I only want this to be visible when where the coffee order switch is on. There you go. It's the only time I want to be able to see this one. So let's try that as well, because I also don't want this to be rendered on the page if this is not even an option here. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and try this here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do add to cart. Actually, let's do caramel, add to cart. I did this wrong. The button itself needs to be hidden. Okay, so is dash hidden. Create a combo. Actually, let's get rid of that. Let's just, honestly, just give it a class of hidden. It doesn't matter how the heck it looks. It's never going to be seen. So I need to keep this one alive here for that reason, actually. Okay, publish. Because what it's doing is it's opening the component itself. And so by making the visibility of the entire component invisible, then that will be good. So now let's try this again. We got oat milk, we got caramel, add to cart. And there we go. Boom. Okay. Now we can add to cart. Oh, select their bean type, whole bean, add to cart. Great. So then we got a cart of like 6 items here. We've been adding a bunch of stuff. Okay, so now we've got a little call to action there that's just kind of prompting someone. So let's do one more thing. We want to add a condition. I only want to have the modal be triggered once per session. Can you update this for me, the script to reflect that? Okay, there you go. So it's probably going to do a storage session, something that's in code here. Okay, so we had the script wrote and we gave it some clear instructions. Now you'll see here that it's updated. Okay, so now the trigger modal click has a couple of functions in it, and it has the modal trigger, and it has a set of timeout, essentially, if that session storage equals true. And then again, the same thing in the call here. So we'll go ahead and publish it to the dev. And as of right now, because my storage session is active, it's actually not adding it here, even though my cart has like 9 items, right? But in order for that to work, what now I have to do is, okay, I come on this another day, boom, hot latte. Now my session storage is cleared, and I can go ahead and add another one, and then it'll come back up. That way, it's like you're not getting prompted every time you're adding something to the cart. So that's kind of the way to get around it. So maybe, which is kind of a weird UX thing, but it won't actually hurt. Okay. So now what you might think is, okay, well, how is this going to go to the main site? Because everything's been published to each one, but you'll notice that even though this is a new session, it is not, nothing's happening, nothing's triggering. That's because we need to now publish it to dev, or to production, I'm sorry. So that's the nice thing about this. You can keep your code and you don't have to mess with your live site. Now when you publish that to production, let's see here. So save to production. Now that we have that set, that should go ahead and do when it's saved to production. Now you'll give it a little bit because of it's being served up from a different server, and then it'll kind of load into your site. You'll really just be working with the Webflow IO domain for the most part. The cool thing is too, is that whenever you do publish to production, it actually builds the code and minifies the JavaScript for you. So you don't have to worry about doing that, or you don't have to have long code on your site. So there we go. With a little bit of AI and some good direction, we've actually kind of supercharged our Webflow product site a little bit here and give it a nice little call to action whenever someone is purchasing something from your site. I hope that helps. I'll have a link to Slater in the bottom. They're getting ready to roll this product out, I believe. But it's a pretty amazing tool that I've been really loving and really using in my Webflow projects. So give it a shot. Let me know what else you want to learn. I hope this was helpful, giving you a little ideas on how you can create some unique user experiences with a little bit of code. Like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one, and thank you guys for watching.